This story is a wake-up call, and it just shows everybody the sheer level of Republican extremism today. So according to the rules of the House of Representatives, if I understand them correctly, most of the time only the Speaker of the House can call a vote on a bill. He has to allow it, essentially. But there are a lot of exceptions to that. So for example, if legislation originates in the Senate, and only certain types of legislation can originate there, that's granted, but if legislation originates in the Senate and is passed by the Senate, then any member of the House can call for a vote on that legislation. So this is exactly what happened with the government shutdown. The Senate passed what's called a clean continuing resolution. So in other words, it's a bill that doesn't have the defunding of Obamacare attached to it or any of the other stuff that the Republicans wanted. So they passed that in the Senate, and then that would have to happen is the House of Representatives would have to pass the same bill, and then the government would reopen. And the amazing part is that the House of Representatives had the votes to pass that. There's no question about it. Now, the specific tally is up in the air as to whether or not there were 18 Republican votes, and I've seen numbers now as high as 28 Republican votes that would have went for a clean continuing resolution. But of course, if we're sitting here, it's still the government shutdown, so what happened? The Senate passed it and it died in the House. Well, how did it die in the House? That's where this video comes in that I'm about to play for you guys. When one of the Democratic representatives went up to call for a vote on this, this happened.
What purpose does the gentleman from Maryland rise?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 4 of Rule 22, I move that the House take from the Speaker's table the Senate amendment to the House Joint Resolution 59, recede from its amendment, and concur in the Senate amendment to open the government now.
Under Section 2 of House Resolution 368, that motion may be offered only by the Majority Leader or his designee.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
Gentleman
Speaker.
may state his parliamentary inquiry.
The standing rule of the House is Rule 22, Clause 4. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the standing rule of the House reads, Mr. Speaker, when the stage of disagreement has been reached on a bill or a resolution with House or Senate amendments, a motion to dispose of any amendment shall be privileged. Mr. Speaker, my question is this parliamentary status of the bill, does it meet the requirements of 22.4?
The House has altered that operation of that standing rule.
So I just want to understand, Mr. Speaker, this standing rule of the House, which I have here, has been altered by the House. Is that what the Speaker's saying?
The House adopted a resolution altering.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker. When was that alteration made?
House Resolution 368.
House Resolution 368. Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry. I want to make sure I have the right one. I have in my hand H-Res 368, October 1st, resolved, and Section 2 of that says any motion pursuant to Clause 4 of Rule 22 relating to the House Joint Resolution may be offered only by the Majority Leader or his designee. Is that what you're referring to, Mr. Speaker?
That is the resolution.
So, Mr. Speaker, just so I understand the situation, parliamentary inquiry, H-Res 368 changed the standing rules of the House to take away from any member of the House the privilege of calling up the Senate bill to immediately reopen the government. Is that right?
It did change the operation of the standing rule.
The Rules Committee, under the rules of the House, changed the standing rules of the House to take away the right of any member to move to vote to open the government, and gave that right exclusively to the Republican leader. Is that right?
The House adopted that resolution.
The
chair is now prepared to entertain 1 minute.
I make my motion, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion that under the regular standing rules of the House, Clause 4, Rule 22, that the House take up the Senate amendments and open the government now.
Under Section 2 of House Resolution 368, that motion may be offered only by the majority leader or his designate.
Mr. Speaker, why were the rules rigged to keep the government shut down?
The gentleman will suspend.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think
the chair will now entertain.
Democracy has been suspended.
The gentleman
Mr.
will
Speaker.
suspend.
They literally changed the rules to get their way, to keep the government shut down. It's amazing. Like, how do you do that? They're cheating to stop a vote that would have passed to reopen the government, and they're doing it simply because they're so extreme and they wanted to defund Obamacare and they wanted to make demands and make the Democrats, who won the last election, do all the policies that the American people voted down and said we don't want to do.